and Gail Bodenstein was a very dear friend, and it's my honor to say a few words in her blessed memory. Okay. It says in Pirkei Avos, Histakel b'shlosha dvarim ve'ein ata ba lidei avera. Da ma l'mala mincha, ayin ro'ah, ve'ozen shoma'at, ve'kol ma'asecha b'sefer nechtavim. We are instructed to look at three things in order to keep us from sinning. We are warned that there is an eye that sees what we do, and there is an ear that hears what we say, and all our deeds and actions are written down in the book. In days of old, people must have had a hard time comprehending or even believing in this fantastic claim. In those days, it was impossible to imagine Orwell's 1984 or what 2019 would be like. That was then. Today, you need only listen to Rabbi Wein or read his Pirkei Avos book to better appreciate this admonition. Look around. There are those closed-circuit cameras everywhere. Are they not the eyes that see all? Many of these cameras are equipped with voice-activated listening devices. Are they not the ears that hear? And what about our emails and WhatsApp? Are they not saved on cloud someplace? Are our written words not saved in the book of posterity? The idea behind the admonition to be careful with our words and deeds is meant to prevent us from saying and doing things we should avoid, as they will surely be found out. I was thinking of a slightly different approach to the idea of warning people that they are being observed and recorded. I'd like to focus on the good people in the world, like Gail, who did so many good things quietly and beseiter. Gail belonged to that special club of good people who consistently did good things without being aware of cameras. The many good deeds that Gail performed did not end with her demise. Those acts, those good acts, live on, and they never dissipate because they subscribe to the butterfly theory. I believe that many of Gail's original acts of kindness and chesed continue to live on and accrue dividends even as they continue to give birth to new good deeds and more acts of kindness. For example, Gail once befriended, more than once, but she befriended a young man who worked in some of the local shops on Keren Kayemet Street. Over time, Gail convinced the young man to get an education. She convinced him to go to law school. She even paid for his tuition. Today, he has a law degree. What Gail did goes way beyond just putting him through school, because the story does not end there. And while Gail is in her resting place, the story of this one lucky young man will, Bezrat Hashem, continue to flourish, grow, and bear fruits for many years to come, thanks to Gail. Another thought occurred to me without being watched as relates to Gail. I met Gail about 20 years ago, and she introduced herself by saying, I walked past your apartment and spied through your window, and I saw a man working on your apartment day after day, night after night, until I realized that it was your husband. She appreciated the concept of a Jew who knew how to build with his own hands. She reminded me of the story about a young boy who was walking with his grandfather in Tel Aviv. The old man turned to the boy and pointed to a building as he said with pride, "You see that building, Tatala? I built it." The boy gave some thought to his grandfather's words and innocently remarked, "Saba, I didn't know we were Arabs." Yes, Gail took pride at seeing a builder wearing a kippah. I was privy to many good deeds that Gail performed, and while I'm sure there is much I missed, I have no doubt they were picked up by Borei Olam's cameras and documented in the holy books above. Because at the end of the day, it's about the good we do and the positive memories we leave behind. Rabbi Wein has a great lecture on YouTube, Patterns in Jewish History, where Rabbi Wein says that he heard from his Rebbe that if your grandparents are proud of you and your grandchildren are proud of you, then you are probably all right. Rabbi Wein then asks rhetorically, what did my grandparents think of me, and what will my grandchildren think of me? He continues, since I became a grandfather, and now thank God a great-grandfather, I started to behave myself because I want them to have a good opinion of me. Because after all, that's all that I am going to leave them. That's all I am, the memory of what I was. That's all any of us are. The memory of what we once were and the deeds we performed in the relatively short time that we are here. I don't know if Gail knew her grandparents, and she had no grandchildren, but she did leave many wonderful memories and beautiful deeds of goodness and kindness. Gail did a lot of things that her grandparents would have surely been proud of. I know I am, and I know others are, who are very proud of Gittel Miriam Bashmuel. For example, I heard the following story firsthand. A young woman in the process of getting divorced was in a car accident. In the turmoil of the moment, confused and disoriented, not knowing why, she reflexively blurted out the words, Pidyon Nefesh, possibly because the following day she was supposed to receive her get. She couldn't afford the third-party liability insurance, and the cost to fix the Mercedes she damaged was a whopping 8,000 shekalim that she, of course, didn't have. In desperation, she called her dear friend Gail and asked to borrow money for the repair. Gail gave her the money in traveler's checks, including the 3% to cover the commission charges, and added the words, Pidyon Nefesh. Those were the very words spontaneously uttered by the young lady just after the accident. Shortly thereafter, Gail informed the young lady that it's a Shemitah year and that she doesn't owe her anything. Right? But Gail was not only kind, she was highly intelligent and wise. She was an accomplished lawyer and, for a time, an EPA, Environmental Protection Agency judge. She made Aliyah long ago and used her time in the Holy Land efficiently. She toured our little country with her beloved Yigal, her Chatan, who was a professional tour guide for the Eretz Yisrael movement tours. He unfortunately passed away before they could be married. It is hoped that they are now united forever. She loved our beautiful country. She really felt like she was home. She frequented many of the shiurim lectures in the neighborhood. I have a mental picture in my mind of her racing down Al-Kharisi Street carrying a sefer. She went to most, if not all, of Rabbi Wein's lectures. She had great admiration and respect for Rabbi Wein, as we all do. I remember when she did me a favor not that long ago. She came by and cheerfully picked up the newest of Rabbi Wein's books and brought them to Rabbi Wein for me to sign. She knitted hats and blankets for people, hats for our chayalim, and our boys she called them. She arranged packages for our soldiers and mentored not a few young people in our neighborhood. She introduced me to many wonderful people, some of whom are here, like my friend Simcha, Sarah, and my dear friend Elaine Pomeranz. Gail and I sat next to each other on the Yom Menorah for many years. I witnessed firsthand the intensity of her davening. It won't be the same without her. We went to the shuk together, and she introduced me to her regulars. I can still hear her saying shalom in her upbeat manner and yom na'im with her cute American accent each time we passed one of her buddies at the shuk. Even as she started to deteriorate, she busied herself with thoughtful acts. She bought her accountant a beautiful new plant and chose a special planter that she felt would suit his office. He liked it so much he asked Gail if it would be okay if he took it home. I recently learned that Gail would go over to the Kohanim and thank them for their blessings after shul. Anyone who knew Gail appreciated the way she always greeted everyone with sever panim yafos, always with a kind word and a big smile. Gail Bodenstein was indeed my friend. I already miss her and her bubbly personality. To me, it's as if the world lost a spark of light with her passing. I'm grateful for this evening and for the opportunity to tell you a little bit about her. Thank you, Rabbi Wine and Mark. May the memory of our dear friend Gittel, Miriam, Bash Shmuel, and Sarah be blessed. May she rest in peace, and may her neshama have an aliyah.